My name is Laura George, and I'm a spiritual warrior. That is why I'm here. And I want to talk to you about what that means, because that is going to be the key to this revolution. I am in a cocoon right now, and it's not self-imposed. I've been told to write 3 books. The first book is called The Truth, about the 5 primary religions. The second book is called The Love of the 4th Spiritual Paradigm. We need to switch the paradigm. And the third book is called The Light. The book we're working on, Garda, please listen. Please listen. There's a chapter in the book that we're writing right now. There are 11 chapters. One of them is Love of Freedom. 2 of our authors are amazing. One of them is Maxine Hong Kingston, and she wrote a book called Woman Warrior. Another one of our authors is Aung San Suu Kyi, and she writes about freedom. She has been in prison since, I think, 1988. She says you cannot have a revolution without a spiritual base, a spiritual foundation. That is the key. We are in nothing less than a battle between the forces of dark and the forces of light. That is what we are experiencing right now. It is, to those who are biblically based, the prophecy time. I study religion, and I am telling you that 3/4 of this planet is vibrating end times. All the Abrahamic religions believe that we are in it, and they are waiting for their respective messiahs. And the New Age movement also thinks we are in that period, and they're vibrating their own sort of paradigm shift. So what I'm saying is, the bulk of this planet wants this change. Unfortunately, many of them want to die for it. We need to tap into this energy. We need to tap into this energy. It is, you can feel it. What I think we need to do, and this is not instead of the swarm method, but when I hear, I get the vision of Gulliver's Travel. You know, the Lilliputians all attacking the monster, and they get him down, but what does he do? Eventually he arises, he pulls free. We can take the cabal down that way. But what we've got to remember, every step of the way, they're planning for the collapse. They want the collapse. They're 5 steps ahead of us. Okay? So this notion that after the collapse, then we can rebuild, it's not going to happen, folks. It's not going to happen. They are so far ahead of us in this chess game. They're playing a game of risk with this globe. They get off on it. Money doesn't matter to them anymore. They can have sex with 5-year-olds if they want. What gets them off is fucking with this whole planet. They're playing gods. That's how they see themselves. We've got to get ourselves into their mindset. And now back to what's going on this planet. We've got to tap the energy, the spiritual energy that is rising. And this is my idea, concrete idea. Everyone here who's got their passion and we're focusing on their segment of this problem, keep going. But this is what we need to do in addition. We need to build a city of light. We need to build an example in this country of what we've been talking about, what we've been dreaming about, what we all see in our most private, precious moments. That is what we need to do. One more thing. No, please. Time. It's no coincidence we're in Virginia. I have found the place where we can do this, and also not coincidentally, it's called Independence. The town is called Independence. I've invited the Prout people to come, and they're going to come, and anyone else who wants.
Invited the Prout people to come, and anyone else who wants to come. Her name is
Laura George, and I'm telling you, I have found the place. The website.
Laura George, George, Laura.
The website is called The Oracle Institute. And already they're 4 years into the sustainability aspects of this model. a land care model.
Too many letters for the website.
The land care model from Europe has been implemented there. It started there. Of all the little towns in this country, they chose independence.
.org or .com?
The sustainability component is going there, and it's the place. TheOracleInstitute.org. That's my website. But land care, excuse me.
Okay, time.
Laura at.
Your name?
My name is Roger Cotillo. I'm a psychologist from San Francisco. I'm here speaking on behalf of the Earth Federation. Perhaps the speaker just before me hit on something. I found it interesting that the T-shirt here says Disarmageddon. My comments mostly are for some of you here I've talked to already, some of you individuals, and some of you who have organizations. My remarks are mostly having to do with overview strategy, and those of you that understand the implications of what it's going to take to deal with the mega corporations, the big money, covert operations, the shadow world government. Some of you here initially perhaps have been nervous about the idea of a world federation. However, our choice has come down to this: is it going to be a shadow world government, or are we going to have a We the People World Federation? I'm submitting to you that the Constitution for the Federation of Earth can be and should be our organizing principle. You don't need Dr. Martin's permission or my permission to go on it. Most of what you're doing is already covered in the Constitution. What we're asking from you is to cite the Constitution for your work where it fits, and to start using the Earth Federation as part of your symbol, is that your activist work is under the Earth Federation. Part of the reason this is important is we have a worldwide problem. If we just stick to the nation, it's not going to work. We're in such bad shape, in my opinion, that we ought to be asking the European Union and India to come and save us. But so that's my basic point. Is please read that Constitution very seriously. It was written over 30 years by a lot of people from all over the world, and I think it can be our guide for what we actually need to do if we have a chance of solving this problem. Thank you.
Where is it? www.
Yeah, website.
www.worldproblems.net and www.wcpa.biz.
James Spencer.
Effective organization focuses on crucial issues. I mentioned two. The first is voting integrity. Europeans think it's absurd that we allow private companies with close ties to one party to count our votes. It's the only way Republicans can win elections. If you want to see a series of studies easily accessible by experts like Steve Friedman, Bob Fitrakis, Bev Harris, go to assassinationscience.com and look at the big red box entitled The Death of Democracy. The other issue is 9/11 truth. If 9/11 truth can destroy any justification for these wars in violation of international law, the UN Charter and U.S. Constitution, then it's worth your exploration. Here's a 15-minute challenge to expose yourself to 9/11 truth. Go to 911scholars.org. In the upper left-hand corner, read a short summary of the scientific and technical proofs of what the government's told us is false, entitled Why Doubt 9/11? Then if you want to know the motivation, what's really going on here, scroll down and you'll see a piece entitled 9/11 and the Neocon Agenda. If that doesn't convince you, then go to the upper right-hand corner and click on Patriots Question 9/11, and you'll see photographs, biosketches, and statements by 1,100 experts, military, intelligence, professors, faculty. If you aren't convinced by that, I can't imagine what would. Now, let me make one closing observation. If someone as brilliant as William Bloom can doubt whether Building 7 came down by controlled demolition because he can't think of a good reason why, then we got a problem. I decided I'm going to try this so that that night I suggested to him in the courthouse the reason reason may have been that the SEC was in that building. It had all the documents and records from Enron and from ongoing investigations, the penalties for which would have totaled hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars. He dismissed it with the back of his hand, which may not have been as deplorable as Noam Chomsky, who withdrew an invitation to appear on a radio talk show with my co-host Kevin Barrett, on the ground that if Building 7 came down by controlled demolition, that only showed that Osama bin Laden had arranged for it to come down by controlled demolition. Jim Fetzer.
Thank you. What's the name of that website? Patriots Question 911?
Yeah. .com.
.com. Patriots Question 911.com. I have a statement on my own there, by the way. Alex Lavage.
How's it going? My name is Alex Lavage. My last name is L-A-V-I-D-G-E. 2 quick points. One is just sort of building on the language observation. I come from an advertising background, a marketing background. Really, when we're talking about solutions, to think about ideas, and this may throw a few of you off, but just bear with me, to think of ideas as products. The world we live in, we don't have a forum of ideas, we have a marketplace of ideas. And when we want people to consider new ideas and new perspectives, the way that they're packaged is so important. And if you really want for ideas to spread virally, making the ideas or the movements fun, making them cool, making them trendy, using the latest market research techniques, viral marketing techniques. I've got a background in this. Anyone, email me, a.lavage@gmail.com. My family's been in advertising for 50 years. I've got connections in market research. I've got a startup background. Use the latest statistics, use the latest case studies that are out there for getting the message out, making it trendy, making it cool. So that's my first observation. And then also adding to that, rather than calling it a revolution, and I know that appeals to all of our romantic, idealistic identities, and that's great. Consider calling it maybe something like a renaissance. It's a little less threatening to people who are not familiar with some of these ideas. And a renaissance is something where, rather than, because when people think of a revolution, they think of violence, or they think of the face on some piece of currency changing, right? A renaissance is where we take old ideas and we put them in a new context. So, something to throw out there. Email me, happy to connect you. Second, L-A-V-I-D-G-E. Second quick observation is that when we're talking about young people, reaching out to them, yes, that's important. But you also have to understand, there is a lot of literature out there, like Generation Dead by Anya Kamenetz, Strapped by a woman named, Tamara Drought. Young people now, there's a growing subculture, Generation X and Generation Y. They're facing more financial hardship than even their grandparents during the Great Depression. It is very difficult being young today. College tuition prices are going up, cost of living is going up, they're bombarded with credit cards, they're bombarded with debt. Companies are trying to exploit these young people right and left. So in response to that, yeah, sharing knowledge with them is important. But one of the projects I'm working on, it's called Entrepreneur, combines altruism and entrepreneur into one word. I'll give you the quick elevator pitch. These are people who are young, they're in their 20s and 30s, they've reached financial freedom through triple bottom line entrepreneurship. They define wealth not through net worth, but by the amount of free time they have in their life, while living simple, sustainable, ecologically friendly lifestyles to focus on social change on either a local or a systematic level. By sharing these case studies with people who have actually done it and say, hey, free time is the raw resource that young people need, freedom from financial constraints, to go out there and to make the kind of things that we're talking about here happen. That is crucial. To simply share knowledge with young people, it's kind of like giving them a map and say, this is where we need to go. But they don't have enough money to even buy a car, much less get the gas, much less even have the time to drive it, to do the kind of work that they want to do. So those 2 quick points, I think those are the solutions, thinking about how we can empower young people with new systems, and also thinking about the marketplace of ideas. Again, my name is Alex Lavage, L-A-V-I-D-G-E. Please contact me if I can help in any way. Thank you. It's a.lavage, L-A-V-I-D-G-E @gmail.com.
What's your website?
I've got a website at entrepreneur.org, but just email me, it'll be easier. I can spell it, ALTRUPRENEUR.org. And I'm on the web, just to Google me. I'm real easy to get a hold of. So, thank you.
My name is Gary Crane, and I just want to put in my 3 top favorites so far. Alex, who just spoke, because this really is about marketing. And you got to get that. We got to stop talking to each other and figure out ways to talk to strangers. Politics is talking to strangers, so definitely hook up with Alex. The person talked about making the ballots. Richard Hayes Phillips and the person before him stand up. We talk about voting integrity. I'm the director and founder of Fair Elections, so I'm biased, but it really is about making these elections fair. And Richard has the answer. The other man has the organizations. Please hook up with them. Those are my 2 favorites. And then George talked about the National Ballot Initiative, but we won't have that until we make the balloting fair. So my name is Gary Crane. I'm the founder of Fair Elections. For the last 25 years, I've been a professional fundraiser, investigative journalist, organizer, and filmmaker. And the 3 things I sort of come from is into the battle between the forces of good and evil. The only thing that's ever made a difference is organizing. Number 2 is that politics, organizing, is talking to strangers. These conferences have to lead to ways to start talking to strangers that are going to work. Smarter ways, and in this society, because it's so fun-starved, more fun ways. So my passion is smarter or more fun ways to take the best of these ideas and actually make them marketable and make them happen. I don't have my Smarter Fun Ways website up, but you can reach me at funactivist@gmail.com. And if there are anybody here that knows a programmer that can spend 10 hours a week to help me with my website, I've got 2 I need going, please let me know. The last thing I want to say is that if things look dark, remember that in the Civil Rights Movement, the Vietnam Movement, all these movements that succeeded, we never had more than 3% of the public out there on the streets or working as activists in the offices really doing things. We only have to get another 1% of this nation to get to that tipping point. We don't have to reach everybody. Don't waste your time with people that are going to argue with you. Talk to the people that are on the verge. They're looking for direction. And then the last thing I want to say is that I have developed...
Thank you.
Thank you. Reggie Cervantes.
I came to Radford and took part in the Renaissance, and I learned from all of you. The gentleman from after Downing Street sent Donna a message, and I'm going to use it in my email, and I encourage you all to use it as well. Radford. And I think that should be our secret call sign. Also, I mentioned to Garda that one of the things we need to do in order to better network after we get out of here is to get an after report, get an email from her, and I told her I would help in creating a database and a report about what this Renaissance was all about at Radford. And to acknowledge the part and validate that we took part in the largest thinking tank in this revolution that ever has taken place since the 60s, I believe, and going forward from there. And that in this informational after report that we provide what each organization wants to accomplish, your info, your email, your phone, your address, and your mission statement, so that when I get my copy, I'm going to share it with my friends, and I'm going to share it with all those organizations that make a difference in this movement. And we could use it as a Bible for the revolution to share with other activists. My name is Reggie Cervantes, and I'm also a World Trade Center survivor rescue worker. My phone number is 405-426-9894. I'm very poor, so don't call me, email me. And I'm going to give Garda all the information in my after report so that you can all access it. And because of my post-traumatic stress, I won't remember a lot of stuff, but I will use the information I get from Garda to use the data to help other people who are seeking food, no bombs, the Iraq War Veterans Against the War, and all the other projects that make a difference, that enlightened me and educated me in this Renaissance. Thank you.
Thank you, Richie Cervantes. Just the phone number from Gary Crane.
Forgot to give my phone number, 415-845-7012, or if you forget it, 1-800-FAIRNESS, 415-845-7012. Note takers, please remind people to give their phone numbers.
Pat?
Don't even Good morning, everyone. You're going to ask me again at the end, but I'm going to tell you now anyhow. My name is Pat. Hello. I hope you're having a wonderful time. My email address is pat@swva.net. So that's who I am and where I am, Southwest Virginia. You can remember that, or otherwise find me. I'm the one with the really long hair and the crazy clothes. I am here to offer my ideas. I have a zillion of them, but I'm not going to go over them all. You all have a zillion of them. I'm going to tell you things like I live in a 12 by 16-foot cabin in the woods that I made from lumber that I reclaimed from taking down buildings by hand, these hands, with hammers and nails and pry bars, and put back up as a house. I live completely off the grid. I drink spring water out of the rocks through a pipe that comes into a jug. I have running water when I'm running when I carry it. Otherwise, I don't have running water. What I want to recommend to each one of you to offer you this potential, please, 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 re-empower yourselves. There are 9,000 things that I could name right this minute, and I can talk really fast. You've probably already noticed that. 9,000 things that you can do right now, and they all matter. The same way your vote matters, whether it's counted or perverted or anything else. What you do in your home, in your car, in your life, in your world, in your language matters. Change your light bulbs. Put in compact fluorescents. Change over to 12 volt. Get a solar panel. Charge your batteries that way. Make sure your tires are inflated. Don't bitch about the gas prices. Revel in the gas prices. People are paying attention finally because it hurts. It may hurt a lot more soon. So do stuff now. There's so much. Look around your house. Look at how you eat. How you eat affects the world. Look at how you live, and how you live affects the world. Go to myfootprint.org and find out what your carbon footprint is. Go anywhere. Play. Play. So now, I offer to you my current list of my favorite four-letter words. Y'all, you ready? Grin.
Yay.
Play. Talk. Home. Love. Tree.
Footprint.org. Footprint.org.
That's not my website, that's somebody else's website. It's just really cool to go, oh my God, you can't spell it or pronounce it. What does it matter? And I'm not going to give you my phone number because I'm not there.
All right, Bob Blaine.
Bob Blaine's my name. Cooperation is my game. We are all limited by time. We are all limited by money. The vision that I have, the end game, the condition I want for the world in the end is time money. So everyone in the world is paid a fair amount for the work they do. And as a tactic for social change, it's all on this little piece of paper. The front side gives the vision. Human beings united for economic justice, for wealth, for freedom, and for peace. My website is on the back. It's ourmoney.org. H-O-U-R for the hour, but also our money, meaning personal, our money. We possess it, we own it. I can print 6 of these on one piece of paper. I'm having a great time giving people my money. I want you to take my money. It's on the back table. Take it with you. Give it to people. You know, I ask people, and I've asked you, to model how we make this change. Have I given you any money? How many of you have I given money to? Okay? I want you to do the same thing. If people ask you, what is it for? Tell them it's for the future. Your kids are going to love it. Because this is what is going to happen. Now, on the back of it is Radford, Glenn Martin's website, and also my website. Okay? Take my money, please.
Thank you. Maria Heller.
Hi, I'm Maria Heller. My website is maria.net, MERIA.net. Don't give my number out because I don't use my phone. I find it very annoying. My program said this session was about brainstorming and solutions, okay? And I'm a solutions person. I haven't heard too many of them here. It's kind of heard a repeat of what I've heard all weekend. Sorry, guys, but that's the way it is. All right, so I speak talk. I'm from New York. We have two votes, your money and your fork. If you're still eating agribusiness, tortured animals, you're killing the planet, you're killing your health, and you're supporting the one world order's way to poison all of us. You vote every time you spend $1. You want to take the corporations down, stop buying stuff, eliminate the big box stores. The only way to hurt these bastards is through their pockets. My mother used to say, you know, money talks, bullshit walks. All right, everybody's in here. We can't be whining, saying, hey, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We can't organize, blah, 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 blah. Well, they organize pretty quick in Europe. They call it national strikes. That's what we need here. Okay, work within the system. If you're still out there protesting, out there with your website, out there, you know, doing whatever you think is making a difference. If you're still banking in a multinational bank, they're laughing at you. You can protest till you drop dead because they got your money. Pull your money out of the multinational banks, put it in a local community bank or in one of your teacher credit unions in your state. Don't tell other people what to do if you're not willing to do it yourself. I've educated many people working in the banks in my own town.
Quiet in the front, please.
If you're still supporting GE Pentagon media, you are part of the problem. As long as they still get your money, and I've got to beg for a $15 subscription every month, busting my ass 8 hours a day to bring you real news and a real education, you're part of the problem. If you're still paying for television mind control garbage to come in your house, you are still supporting the one world order. Okay? You can't talk the talk without walking the talk. And it's time to start walking, and walking fast. Where's your money going? That's the only vote they give a damn about. Shop local, support your local stores, local businesses, starve the corporations. It's easy, and I've been boycotting ExxonMobil for more years than I've owned my hybrid. What are you driving? Okay, my sisters say to me like it's a bad thing, you live like a European, okay? My footprint, Pat, wherever you are, I did my footprint online and it was 0, okay? Every American leaves an ecological footprint on this planet of 30 people. That's what pigs we are in this country. That's why they hate us, okay? 30 to 1. Support my show. Support everybody else's movement here. You want to help the young people. Be a role model. They have none. And that's my speech, my 2 minutes. Check out my website. And good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for the energy. We need to boycott a lot of the crap that comes down from the New World Order. And Maria, why don't you be our official boycott person?
Hey, I boycott everybody.
Okay, so contact her and find out how to do it. Let's organize a movement. Take a look at what kind of garbage O'Reilly is putting out. Monitor his sponsors and boycott those sponsors. And you put him underground. Also, a really good idea, I've heard twice now, where's the European faction at this conference? We need that energy from leftists over there, from Latin American leftists, all over the world. We need to bring them here. Okay. DC.
Hi. My name is B.C. Emerson, and I'm originally from Sri Lanka, and I'm a medical doctor, and I go by Dr. B.C. or D.C. Anyway, I'm interested in, we had a lot of talks about the empire, I think the proper wording, I think, is not empire, it's a corporate greed that drives this country, and the presidents do all the dirty things. Because there's a movie, you can see this movie free on the internet, it's called War on Democracy by John Pilger, an Australian journalist. It's 90 minutes long. Everything we talk about is in that movie today. It shows, if you are interested in stopping torture, close the School of Americas, this is the movie to watch. You know, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video is worth millions of words, I think, you know, that's a good message to give everybody. Then, I mean, I don't like to shop at Walmart because this is what the corporate greed is doing to us. You know, they're bringing all the things made out of slave labor here. I asked, is there a Kmart here in Radford? They said it had been closed, you know. See, the Walmart is in every little town. They're destroying all the little small businesses. It's not doing any good because they're losing jobs because they're going overseas to, you know, third world countries. The other thing I want to, as a doctor, is did you notice that asthma has doubled in the last 5 years? Asthma, you know, American Lung Association says, you know, if you can't breathe, nothing else matters. You know. So if it doubled in 5 years, what will happen next 5 years, next 10 years? More and more people, you know, we are burning too much fossil fuel, and that has something to do with that, you know, this war is also destroying the environment because all the depleted uranium, and it's coming back to us now. And now the train load of depleted uranium is being Kuwait wants it to move from the United States, coming back here to Washington State and to Oregon. So, you know, people should protest that. Anyway, so, you know, the other thing is to clean up the environment. You know, we should use renewable energy sources. You know how much energy we get from the sun in 1 hour? More than all the energy we use in 1 year. So there's a way, if every house, what Jimmy Carter started 30 years ago, the solar, if he had that, we would have every house will have a solar panel, and we can charge our cars with solar power. You don't pay for gas, you know.
You have contact information?
Yeah, contact information is, cell number is 757-288-5188, 757-288-5188, or you can call, go to my website is dcamara.org, email Dr. DC, drdc2006@cox.net.
Thank you, DC.
Thank you.
My name is Malgo Schmidt. I am a veteran of Solidarity in Poland. Our revolution was not called revolution, it was called Free Trade Union. And it resulted in disintegration of Soviet Union. Now, in order to be successful in the United States, we need to unite into one national movement, not 300, not 70, not 2, one. And this is how revolutions have been won in India, in Poland, and in South Africa. So we need one umbrella organization with one program. Well, our program must have 3 goals. So let's make a list of goals and identify the 3 most important goals. Our movement also needs a leader, like we had Martin Luther King. If you ask me who will this leader be, I would say Cynthia McKee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get contact information?
Hi, I'm Ann Williams from Norfolk, Virginia, and many of the things that I have learned on this journey, I've learned also from our peace partner, Tom Palumbo, and many of my friends and associates from the Norfolk area. Thank you to all of you. First of all, Norfolk, Virginia is in the heart of, it has the biggest Navy base on the planet. And so we're working in the shadow of that with GI resistance and organizing. And one of our young members of ivaw.org, has recently been involved with the Winter Soldier testimonies. And we would like to encourage all of you to go to democracynow.org or ivaw.org, and tell everyone you know about these testimonies. 9 of them have recently testified in front of Congress. And it's imperative that every American hear this testimony, because if more people heard it, we wouldn't be in Iraq. And that's a great way to spread the word about what is really happening in our name. Other things we've been involved with, we partner with our local entrepreneurs in our community, as Maria said. Politics is local, and it's important that you put your dollars back into your community. Forget Barnes & Noble, support your independent bookstore. Forget the Regal 12, go to your independent theater or create one and show these films to people and encourage everyone you know in your sphere of influence, including work, church, home, community, family. Encourage these people to come out, write letters to the editor, and write them consistently. And you will begin to see a paradigm shift with time. Also, one thing that we do, and it's fun, we wear a lot of buttons. For instance, I have intheoccupation.org, and that starts a lot of interesting conversations. We have Make Art Not War. We have Feed the People, Not the Pentagon. And these little things actually begin conversations in your sphere of influence, and it does broaden people's perspective. Another thing that we're doing in that area, along with our independent film theater, we're offering films with discussions afterwards, and many speakers, for instance, David Swanson has been there, Jeremy Scahill, Kathy Kelly. We have brought them to our independent theater, and we have been able to fill that theater at times and had terrific discussions and commentary afterwards. So it's important that it be an interactive, inter-community effort. Also, support your farm markets, please. Thank you.
My name is Richard Cook. I'm a writer and consultant. I live in Williamsburg, Virginia, retired from the U.S. Treasury Department. When I checked in here, I had a lot of trouble with my key card opening the door of the dorm, and I looked at the plate and it said made by Diebold. I don't know if you noticed that. With all due respect to Radford University, of course, which is a great place. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place here. But I couldn't help thinking when I was eating the wonderful food, including at the banquets, that a project is underway by the international financiers to starve hundreds of millions of people on our planet. That has begun. It is going on right now. It is going to come to the United States. In fact, if you look at what's happening with the food stamp statistics, the price of food, the price of commodities, it is happening here. It's being done in a coordinated fashion by people who run the money systems of the world. We hear a lot about corporations, but please bear in mind, every corporation, to the financiers who own it, is just a cash cow. Doesn't matter if they make food, doesn't matter if they make automobiles, it doesn't matter. All it's there for is to produce financial profits. And an increasing amount of those profits come because of bank leveraging. We talk about the commodities, futures markets, where prices of food and oil are going up and up and up. 97% of every futures contract is a bank loan. It doesn't come from the investors. It comes from bank overhead. So my specialty is currency. And these are the reasons that that is the case. Because currency is at the heart of so many problems.
All right.
What happened to start the American Revolution actually took place in 1764, not the Battle of the Lexington Bridge in 1775. In 1764, Parliament passed the Currency Act, which took away from the colonial legislatures the right to control their own credit and their own currency. Once that was gone, a depression set in and the colonists had no choice but to revolt. Because of people like Thomas Jefferson, we kept our currency independence for the better part of a century. That was lost in 1913 when the European and British financiers, through their New York allies, took over control of the United States currency system. They've had it ever since. That was the battle Roosevelt fought. The reason we had as much of a New Deal as we had was because Roosevelt and a handful of people who understood the system took back control of currency. It was lost again. It's gone now. We do not control our economy. We do not control our currency. It's the international financiers of the world, including their allies on Wall Street and other places in America, who control the world economic system. That's no surprise to anybody here.
Why do they want to starve? Why do they want to starve?
The point I want to make, credit is a public utility. Think of it as electricity, water, or clean air. It should be controlled as a public utility, just as all those other things are.
Answer her question.
My name,
Jess, why do they want to starve people?
I've got 2 articles right now that are on rents.com. Read those articles and you'll get as much information as I have about it. And it's control. It's control, it's power, it's wealth, it's profits. Yeah, of course.
Contact information.
My name is Richard Cook. I've got a new website coming up that my team is putting together that I'm part of. If you will email us at economicsanity@gmail.com. That's economicsanity@gmail.com. We'll get you on the information list. We'll let you know when a new website is coming out. I got a flyer on my new book that's coming out. It's called We Hold These Truths, The Hope of Monetary Reform, that addresses these and many other issues. I'll be glad to give you a flyer if you haven't gotten one already. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Rense.org, one of the most interesting websites that I know of. .com, sorry. Others I highly recommend include Dissident Voice, .org, I believe, Thomas Paine's Corner, Cyrano's Journal online, of course, World Prout Assembly.org. There are several. Common Dreams, Counterpunch, and so forth.
My name is Bill Crane, K-R-E-H-M. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I am chairman of the Committee of Economic and Monetary Reform. Our website is www.comer.org. The companion word of revolution is opportunity. And you people have an unprecedentedly immense opportunity around you today in the spreading and deepening subprime crisis, which is no longer those of just banks. It is threatening the central banks. But what are you going to do to know about banking? Very complex subject. The answer is you've got to go back to your history. And the second Roosevelt, FD, solved the problem when he was first inaugurated. He solved the problem by having 2 well-cleared ears. And he listened to everybody who had a possible explanation. And what had happened in the 1920s is that banks whose appetites have absolutely no ceiling, then, now, and forever at an accelerating pace, he solved that by the following. He introduced, when he had gone through his first inauguration, 9,000 of your banks had shut their doors. And people like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, who were great industrialists, were for 100% money because there were practically no functioning banks. So Roosevelt declared a moratorium, which he renewed once, and for a month there were no functioning banks.
Can you wind it up?
Yes. Oh no, I just give me
I can't.
Yes.
5 seconds.
Well, the point of Roosevelt's advice to you to understand banking is this. The banks must not acquire any interest in the other financial institutions, to wit, insurance, stock markets, and finally mortgages. Had that been introduced, there would be no subprime mortgages today. So go back to your own history. Don't just emote. Emote is part of the process. The rest is up there.
I give up my time for you to continue.
Thank you.
But I give up my time
Make you stand.
Were you finished with you?
Not really.
Go ahead, you have my time. Please, go ahead.
Come back.
I gave you my time. We're here together. I'm sorry, we're here together, so I need you to talk.
Well, I want to apologize to the people because I did jump ahead because unfortunately we all scheduled to leave at different times today on Sunday and I have to get going. But
We're going to try to speed this up, so make your point quickly and let's wind this up. We're running late. Let's be attentive to the time.
Okay, well, one thing that I wanted to bring up, my name is Gustavo Bonke.
Yes.
Phone number. 571-232-5470.
Date of birth.
May the Cointel Pro people in the audience...
Time is ready.
The email, Krishnatma, KRSNATMA @gmail.com. Okay, well, throughout the weekend, I heard people say that there seems to be a divide between those who want to do things violently and those who want to do things non-violently. And I'm not the expert, but I had this one idea in mind, and it's just that if you look at the revolution in India, we know the classic figure which is highly respected and highly worthy, we know Gandhi. And we always ascribe all the credit to Gandhi, to Mahatma Gandhi, for his non-violent revolution in India. But all along, as there was a non-violent character in the revolution of India, there was also one that was for violence. And his name was, just so you know, so historically we're correct, it's Mr. Chandra Bose. So this gentleman had an army. And don't think the British Army didn't know about that army. They knew just as well about that army as they did about Gandhi. So who were they terrified of? We're going to say, out of fairness, out of history, both. But I'll tell you one thing. Other than the fact that they were going bankrupt, that they can't sustain their colonies, they were just as worried about Gandhi just as worried about Mr. Bose as they were about Gandhi. So what I'm saying is that if you're violent, you're going to do things violently, you're going to have them peeing in their pants. If you're doing things non-violently, you're going to also have them peeing in their pants. Okay? The point is that there has always been two factions, and neither one is right or wrong. Both are necessary. Because it's about a fight, ultimately. We're putting up a fight. And we're putting up a front. And the means are important, but we need both. And there have been both, and both have been successful. And one other thing that I'd like to say is just that we're talking about being revolutionary here. We are trying to see that glorious day of when the revolution is going to hit. But the thing is that right now, I just want to inspire everybody to say this. We do revolutionary things all the time, hopefully. We do little revolutionary things by, for example, getting to know people of other races, of one couple of another race marrying another couple. That's called a revolutionary marriage, because at one point slavery prohibited that. We do revolutionary things all the time by coming to this conference. That's called revolutionary. By doing revolutionary things more and more and more and more and more, we are putting the puzzle together of the larger revolution.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.